share a little bit about what we got going on and what he's been doing. He came all the way up here from Marion, Ohio. He had to sleep on my couch last night.
Love it. Hello guys, my name's Michael Pack, and for most of my life I wouldn't even step into church. I get this weird feeling, and I would run out of it. And I can't explain to you why I'm here today and how I got here other than through a divine intervention. At 11 years old, my dad gave me a decision that I could play sports and quit going to church. And I took my will over right then and there. And self-will ran chaos in my life. Drugs and alcohol messed me up to the point to where society, I got a 13-page rap sheet. I've been shot in the leg. If you see me limping, that's why. I've been stabbed. My face is all cut up. I was in and out of the Texas prison system. My family abandoned me. And while I was incarcerated, I would not accept any treatment whatsoever. And my family's addiction grew worse, and we grew apart. And when I got out, I was all alone by myself. And if you're alone, you don't have to be. And I got introduced to the 12-step fellowship, and I'm a 12-stepper. And the 12 steps can work for anybody if you're an alcoholic or drug addict or not. And that's how I found God. And I'd like to let everybody know that Ohio is the birthplace of recovery. And AA was founded here in 1935. And it's weird how it was founded. There was this rich man, his name was Roland, and his family didn't know what to do with him. This is the first miracle in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. His family didn't know what to do with him. He would get drunk, he would get high, he would do everything, and they had money. And they put him on a boat and they shipped him over to England. And they sent him to this world-famous doctor, and his name was Dr. Young. And Roland stayed with Dr. Young for a year, and he worked with him, and he taught him everything that he could to stay sober and function so he wouldn't disgrace his family. And Roland decided that he had everything that he needed, and he left England and came home, and within 2 days he was drunk and high all over again. And he felt like he was doomed. And I've been in that spot, I was doomed until I found God, And he hopped back on that boat, and he went back over to England, and he sat down with this doctor. He said, "Is there anything that you can do for me?" And the doctor's like, "No, there's nothing I can do for you." He said, "You're doomed." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "When I left here, I thought I had everything that I needed to stay sober." He said, "Is there anything that I can do for you?" And the doctor said, "Well, since the beginning of time, every now and then somebody will have a spiritual awakening." He said, "They'll find God, they'll fall in love with a woman, they'll have a child, they'll get a job, and something will intervene in their life, and they're okay for then." He said, "I've been trying to create a spiritual awakening in you, but all attempts have failed." He said, "When you go back to America, back in the 30s, they locked people in insane asylums, He said, "You need to live under lock and key," he said, "and get a bodyguard," and he said, "You're going to die drunk and high." And Roland didn't do that. Roland found a church, and it was a movement. It was called the Oxford Group. And he joined the Oxford Group, and he met one of Bill Wilson's friends, who was Ebby, and he sponsored him, and Ebby met Bill, and that's how Alcoholics Anonymous started, And back in the day, they didn't have the daily reflection, and they didn't have all these different readings. The 12 steps came from Corinthians, the book of James, and Sermon on the Mount. And anybody can get clean, stay clean, and find a new way to live. And as addicts and alcoholics, I believe we're God's chosen people because He takes care of every one of us. And to give you a little bit more family history, I believe that I was born an addict, and it's not my fault because both of my grandfathers died of cirrhosis of the liver before they were 55. All four of my grandfathers died from alcoholism. My mom has 13 brothers and sisters. they are all drug addicts or alcoholics. I have 71 first cousins. I'm the only one to ever graduate high school. You know, I'm a two-time loser. Nobody ever believed in me, and the judge that sentenced me, when I got back to Marion, he told me kind of similar to what Roland was told. He told me, he said, I don't know why I'm doing this, but 10 years you'll be dead or you'll be in prison for the rest of your life. And the bailiff pulled me to the side. He said, Michael, you need to leave Marion and never come back. And you know, exactly 10 years later, I was the drug court liaison. It's crazy. Sorry I get worked up, but I love the Warriors, you know. And if I can do it, anybody can. And I work for the FBK Heroin Foundation, and I want to tell you guys something. Heroin's the bad word in that sentence. We reach over 4 million people nationwide. We will kick the doors off of the trap house. We recently surrounded one with Operation 612 and the Warriors Project, because we don't abandon our wounded, you know. And we got contacts with treatment facilities all over America, and if you're ever in trouble and you can't find Tiny or Warrior, all you have to do is call 419-971-KICK and ask for Michael, and I'll come get you. You know, and I'm moving here because you guys are my family, and I love every one of you, and I don't know why I'm so emotional. Probably because I've been running around with Duck, and he's been messing with my emotions. Pray for me, guys. I got a long ride home. Yeah, I love Duck. You know, the Dream Team is going to show Ohio how to recover. You know, the state of Ohio is ground zero for the heroin addiction. Legislation hasn't been passed, and it's not where it needs to be yet. You know, there's still a lot of stigma in our state, and people are arguing over, is it a choice? Is it a disease? Is it a choice? Is it a disease? And there's no one solution for this problem. You know, you can have a spiritual awakening in any way, and that's why people are pointing fingers. And they don't understand that initially it may be a choice when you pick up to use drugs, but after you pick up, you no longer have a choice. You're a slave. You have to use. Unless something intervenes in your life, like me going to jail over and over and over and over and over again and getting pulled out of that, you're not going to be able to stop. And drug addicts aren't bad people, they're sick. And I know all of you guys understand that. I've been in each and every one of your shoes, and you're not alone, you know, and we can do this. You know, God brought all these organizations together, you know, the state MMA champ, Bridget Weber, Nicole Walmsley from Pari. You know, she's in 25 jails across the state. You know, Lethal Affection Ministries, like Tiny mentioned, the Warriors Project, you know, Erase the Shame, Kill the Heroin Epidemic Nationwide, Crystal Wortley. There's a core group of organizations that are moving around the state and showing other people how to recover. Most of the recovery communities and the 12-step fellowships, they argue and don't get along with each other, and we do. You know, and together we have helped more people in the state of Ohio than anybody. You know, and I don't only help people in the state of Ohio, we help people all over the nation. And we're going to bring changes, because just like my parents didn't know what to do with me, and a lot of drug addicts hold their families hostage, you know, and people feel like they're trapped and they don't know what to do, and they're sitting there and they're watching their loved ones die. There is something they can do. You know, there is Casey's Law. It's been affecting the state of Ohio since 2012, but there's no information out there. Most of the treatment centers, the jails, the rehabs, the EMTs, the cops, they don't even know what it is. You know, and we're going to get that information all over the state to let people intervene and force treatment in drug addicts' lives that need it. You know, and that's what I'm going to work on all year. And I'm going to go each and everywhere that I have to, you know, and to keep myself honest and to check my motives and know where they're in check. You know, I do better when I get rid of Michael, because I'm not perfect, and everything that I want to do is not good for me. And how do I get rid of Michael is by doing service work. You know, and that's what the Warriors Project and the Foundation and all these organizations represent. You know, and I concentrate personally on helping people that can't help me back, that were in the same situation that I was in. And it's the biggest blessing on earth, you know. I don't do this for money or anything like that. I know people that are so poor, money's the only thing they got. You know, there's other rewards in life. And to see the transformation of somebody changing like I did is the biggest paycheck you can ever get. And I love each and every one of you, and I'll let you out of here today.